Hello, I'm Nikki Robinson with the Blue Ridge Conservancy, and I want to welcome you to the Blowing Rock Art and History Museum. We are in the Atwell Gallery where the exhibit is Place Matters. And this is an exhibit done by the Conservancy to show you a little bit about what we do and how it connects to you and how we're trying to work to make the high country a better place for its residents and visitors every day. Blue Ridge Conservancy is a nonprofit land trust here in the high country of North Carolina. And so you may be wondering, what exactly is a land trust? Well, we work to protect pieces of land that are undeveloped so that they can be conserved in perpetuity and never be developed or subdivided. And so they retain their conservation value. So we work in the 7 most northwestern counties in the state. There's so many things here that this place can offer, and it's such a special part of North Carolina, which is why we feel like it's so important to protect. And that mantra has really been around for a long time. There's a deep history of conservation here in western North Carolina. And I want to highlight just a couple of people who were really instrumental in that history. If you've been to Blowing Rock, you've probably heard of the Moses Cone Memorial Park. And Bertha Cone, Moses Cone's wife, was actually instrumental in protecting this land that we now use today for public access and recreation. Another person is Julian Price, who helped protect the Julian Price Park, which is also along the Blue Ridge Parkway, and Hugh Morton, who was instrumental in protecting Grandfather Mountain and helped found the Grandfather Mountain Stewardship Foundation. So these 3 people are really deep-rooted in conservation, and it was really their foresight to kind of get the ball rolling and help us conserve these big tracts of land that we at the Conservancy can help build upon and expand for more public access, recreation, and conservation of our resources. So in 1995, there was a group of ASU students who really wanted to see Howard's Knob protected in Boone. And they formed what they called then the Watauga Land Trust, which then developed into High Country Conservancy. And so they were a group of climbers who are really passionate about public access and recreation and climbing on Howard's Knob. Meanwhile, there's a group in Ashe County, and they began in 1997, the Blue Ridge Rural Land Trust. And their focus was protecting the rapidly vanishing farmland that made that part of western North Carolina so rich in history and culture with agriculture. So in 2010, the 2 groups actually merged together to become what is today Blue Ridge Conservancy. And it's a really awesome story about how 2 groups with sort of 2 different ideas of conservation values coming together for the common good to share resources, share knowledge, and be as efficient in land conservation as possible. Today, Blue Ridge Conservancy has protected over 22,000 acres of land in the high country. We have several areas of conservation value that we focus on. We focus on agriculture, culture, recreation, ecology, and scenery. And so a lot of these properties that we protect have one or many of these values, and collectively we feel like we're protecting the wholeness of the high country. Behind me on this wall are several examples of conservation properties that we have protected over the years. And it's very interesting because some of them are small properties from maybe 9 or 10 acres ranging to 1,000 acres. So there's a lot of variety and a lot of work that goes into protecting these places. And every place has a different story to tell. We protect land with two tools that we use primarily. One being a conservation easement, which is essentially an agreement with the landowner saying that we want to protect this land in perpetuity, but the landowner will retain rightful ownership and use of the land. Let's say it's a farm and they want to see this farmland never developed or subdivided, so they'll write a conservation easement, and that easement will travel with the deed. So if it were to be sold or passed on to heirs, that conservation easement goes along with the deed, ensuring that the land will be protected forever. Another way we acquire land is through purchasing. And we'll work with the state a lot of times. There are some state trust funds that help us acquire land that we can write grants for to buy property. And when we buy property, a lot of times we'll have a lot of partners that we work with. We partner with state parks and the National Park Service, and then a lot of times those partners will have management responsibilities passed on to them after we can acquire land. So it's a great partnership because we can work quickly and swiftly to buy land because you don't know how long land will be available once it goes up for sale. And then these agencies like state parks or Wildlife Resources Commission can thoughtfully manage the land for the best of the land and for the people. An example of a conservation easement on the wall over here is the Computer Family Farm in Allegheny County. And this farm is really special because the landowner enacted what we call best management practices, or BMPs. And this means that there were certain infrastructure that was put into the land to make sure that the agriculture practices were the most sustainable ways possible. So that means fencing out cattle from the creeks and adding wells into the pastures for them to get water, and restoring stream banks to mitigate erosion and things like that. An example of some acquisition projects that we've been working on is the Three Top Mountain Game Lands in Ashe County, which you may have been at Three Top Mountain Game Lands because it's public access, and we have been working to buy land on Three Top to expand the game lands. And this is the place where you can go. It's managed by the Wildlife Resources Commission. It's used for hunting, hiking, fishing. It's open public land, and what we're doing is buying properties to expand those borders on Three Top Mountain. And last year we worked and protected over 1,000 acres to add to the existing game land. Ecological protection is a major focus for Blue Ridge Conservancy. In 2018, we partnered with several agencies to protect an endangered bat habitat up on Beech Mountain. And it's a really fascinating story with good examples of how conservation work gets done with partnerships and how everyone plays a role in protecting a natural resource. So we made this video for you. It's a documentary, and you can watch it and really learn and see conservation in action and find out how we protected this amazing species, the Virginia big-eared bat, a bat that lives nowhere else in the world but this region, and what it takes to protect its habitat. If you want to check out that video, you can follow the link that will be provided with this video. Here is a map of our conserved lands in the 7 most northwestern counties in the state. And you can see everything in red is a BRC conservation project. And also included in the map are other conservation lands by other groups. So you can kind of see the collective idea of the lands that we're conserving. So This is, if you were to take the 7 most northwestern counties and remove them, you'd see this outline. So we're talking about Allegheny County, Ashe County, Wilkes, Watauga, Avery, Yancey, and Mitchell counties. And what this map shows is lands that are open for public access, so you can visit these places. And the way that it works is the panels on the wall have a QR code, and you can take your phone and take a snap of the QR code. It'll tell you a little bit about the park or the trail, what to expect, and how to get there, and how it was conserved. Some of the most notable properties and public access lands that we have helped either conserve or expand are probably really familiar to you. We have helped protect land at Grandfather Mountain State Park, Elk Knob State Park. We have protected land along the Blue Ridge Parkway, and we've also helped create some state natural areas like Bullhead Mountain and Bear Paw State Natural Area. Another project that we are working on is building the Middle Fork Greenway, which is the greenway that's going to connect Blowing Rock to Boone naturally with a trail that you can either ride your bike on or run, and it offers great access to the Middle Fork of the New River for fishing or wading. And it's going to be a wonderful green corridor to connect the two towns. And that is currently in progress. We have protected over 22,000 acres of land here in the high country, but the work is definitely not over. Stewardship is a big part of what we do at BRC, which means we have to make sure that the land that we protect remains healthy and that these conservation easements that have been agreed upon are being upheld. Blue Ridge Conservancy is a membership-based organization, so we rely on the support of our donors and our partners to do the work that we're doing. And so if you're interested in becoming a member, it's a great network of people who really care about the land and want to see it conserved forever for our children, for our grandchildren, for the generations to come.